In a small, quiet village where the sun shone brightly and the wind carried the scent of fresh earth, there lived a girl named Ella. She was once a joyful child, always running barefoot with her friends through the fields, laughing under the tall mango trees, and helping her mother cook by the fire. Life, though simple, felt full and happy. But one year, everything changed. A great flood came, bringing heavy rains that lasted for days. The river overflowed, sweeping away homes, livestock, and even the school where the children learned. Ella's house, made of wood and mud, was ruined, and her family had to rebuild it with whatever scraps they could find. Worse still, many families left the village to find a better life elsewhere. One by one, Ella's friends moved away, leaving her behind. The once lively village felt empty. She no longer had anyone to play with. She stopped laughing, stopped helping her mother in the kitchen, and sat for hours staring at the dry land where the flood had washed everything away. Her parents noticed her sadness, especially her father. He had always been a wise and gentle man who loved telling stories in the evening. One night, he sat beside her outside their little hut, watching the stars flicker in the dark sky. He held a small wooden box in his hands. "My dear Ella," he said softly, "I want to show you something special." Ella looked at the box without interest. "What is it, Papa?" she asked in a dull voice. Her father opened the box and took out a small, round seed. It was plain and ordinary, nothing special at all. Ella frowned. "A seed?" she asked, confused. "What is so special about a seed?" Her father smiled and placed it in her palm. "This is not just any seed, my child. This is a seed of hope." Ella looked at the seed again. "Hope," she repeated, shaking her head. "I don't understand." Her father pointed to the dry ground in front of them. "When you plant a seed, it doesn't grow right away. First, it is buried deep in the dark soil. It stays there, all alone, with no sunlight, no water, and no friends. It might feel like it will never see the world again." Ella nodded slowly. She knew what it felt like to be alone. But, her father continued, "The seed does not give up. Even in the darkness, it begins to grow, first tiny roots, then a small stem. It pushes through the soil, little by little, until one day, it reaches the sunlight. And do you know what happens then?" Ella shook her head. "It becomes strong. It turns into a tree, full of life, giving shade, fruits, and a home for birds. Something that was once buried in darkness becomes something beautiful." Ella looked at the seed in her hand. "But to Papa," she whispered, "what if I feel too sad to grow?" Her father gently touched her cheek. "Growth starts small, my love. Each day, take a small step, help your mother cook, play with the little children in the village, find one thing to be grateful for. Do you remember how you used to love drawing in the dirt with a stick? Try doing that again." These small things are like drops of water for your heart. And one day, just like the seed, you will grow strong again. Ella stared at the seed for a long moment. Finally, she took a deep breath. "Can I plant it, Papa?" Her father's eyes shone with pride. "Of course, my dear." The next morning, Ella found a small patch of soft earth near their hut. She dug a tiny hole with her fingers and placed the seed inside, covering it gently with soil. Every day, she watered it with a small cup of water and watched over it. As the days passed, she also began to take her father's advice. She helped her mother cook, played with the younger children, and even started drawing in the dirt again, just like before. One day, an old woman in the village saw her drawings and smiled. "You have a gift, child," she said. "Maybe one day you can paint beautiful pictures." Ella felt a warmth inside her heart, something she hadn't felt in a long time. One morning, as the sun rose, she ran to check on the spot where she had planted the seed. Her breath caught in her throat. There, pushing through the soil, was a tiny green sprout. It was small, but it was alive. It had fought through the darkness to reach the light. Tears filled Ella's eyes, not from sadness, but from something new. Hope. As time passed, the sprout grew into a young tree, its leaves dancing in the wind. And just like the tree, Ella had grown too. She laughed again, made new friends, and found joy in simple things. One day, years later, the tree stood tall and strong, its branches wide and full. Children played under its shade, birds nested in its leaves, and the villagers admired its beauty. And standing beneath it, with a smile on her face, was Ella, the girl who once felt lost,